exercises, and then you read the passage, and then after that, comprehension questions are asked. She asks face-to-face first, orally, verbally, and then she asks you to write the answers. Okay, vocabulary selection is based on the reading text used. Means, for example, you're teaching year 1, so the passages have like vocabulary of what year 1 students need to know. And then words are taught through bilingual list and memorization. Means bilingual list means you have like Malay and English, then you memorize what is, for example, makan is in PM and eat is in English. So you memorize what is makan in English. Makan in English is eat. Okay. Students are often asked to write the new words in a sentence. Means after you teach them the new words, they memorize the new words, and then they are supposed to write a sentence, that they create a sentence of the word. Okay, the next one is direct method. The 4 language skills are taught from the beginning, but a special emphasis is placed on speaking. This just now is reading and writing, right? So this one now is on speaking only, but it actually emphasizes on all 4, but the main focus is on speaking. Classes often start with the reading aloud of a specially graded text, which introduces the lesson's vocabulary and grammatical structure. Means you guys will get a passage or an essay, and then you guys will need to read it, and then you read aloud with the teacher together. And then practice follows with exercises such as guided conversations, where the teacher asks questions on the text and the students answers using full sentences. Other practice exercises include filling in the blanks. Like have anyone in your primary school, your teacher never gave you filling in the blanks exercise? No, right? We all have experienced this. The direct method teachers uses mime, demonstration, media, and visual aids to help students understand grammar and vocabulary. Means the teachers uses visual aids. For example, like she prints out pictures for you to understand. For example, she prints out like just now banana's picture, and then you guys know, oh, this is banana. Next. Okay, the last method is audiolingual method. Skills are taught in the natural order of acquisition, which is first you listen and then you speak. When you listen, you tend to follow what your teacher is doing, right? So you will start to speak. And then when you start to speak, you can read. And then when you start to read, you tend to get new words and new vocab, so you can write. Audiolingual classes begins with a dialogue, which introduces the lesson's sentence patterns. And the students memorize this dialogue, then practice grammar patterns in drills such as listen and repeat, substitution, chain, and transformation. Means, for example, like when a teacher says apple, then you guys say apple together. Okay. Accuracy in pronunciation is emphasized and fostered through minimal pair drills, where students learn to differentiate between sounds. Translation considered to cause interference from the mother tongue is not allowed. Means, for example, you have your own dialects right here. It's not allowed in the audiolingual method. And learning is tightly controlled by the teacher who follows the text closely. Means whatever that is in the text, the teacher will follow what's in the text. Okay? Okay, these are the differences of traditional and modern teaching methods. Where in traditional teaching methods, your teachers will rely mostly on textbooks. But in modern teaching methods, you rely on hands-on materials approach. Means the teacher will let you do and discover things yourself. Okay? And then presentation of materials starts with the parts, then moves on to the whole. This is for traditional. For example, like you have the subtopics, and then your teachers will do your teachers will introduce the subtopics first before they tell you what is the whole thing is actually about. But in modern teaching methods, they start with the whole thing to give you an idea what is the subtopic will be. Okay? And it emphasizes on basic skill, and this one is emphasizes on big ideas. Means that you think big, and In traditional teaching method, the assessment is seen as a separate activity and occurs through testing, while in modern teaching methods, the assessment is seen as an activity integrated with teaching and learning. Means in traditional teaching method, your assessment is on like exams. You have exams, but in modern teaching methods, you see the assessment like for now, like we are assessed based on our presentations. Okay, yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Maria. Today I'm going to present to you about methods and approaches in methodology. Okay. Sorry, I'm so nervous. Okay. So, what is the method? Methods are the communication techniques. And what is approaches? Approaches are the philosophies of teachers about teaching language. Okay. So, to make it easier for you to understand, why is it related? I'm going to give you an example. So, if a teacher teaching English, the student that learn with that teacher is in effect will learn the meaning, functions and the uses of language. So the techniques will be based on the communication language, teaching, and the task will be based on methods. Okay. Okay. Structural approach. This approach mainly applies to techniques of the direct method. So direct method is the method that focuses on directly thinking, doing discussion and conversation in second language. Okay. It is also based on the sound principle of language learning. It also was criticized because it was only suitable for lower grades because continuously teaching of structure and their reputation makes the atmosphere dull and boring. Okay, next. Okay. Functional national approaches. Okay. It is categorized along with others rubric of communication approach. The method stresses a means of organizing a language syllabus. It is also to emphasize on breaking down the global concept of language into units of analysis in terms of communicative situations in which they are used. Okay, so functional notional approach are divided to 6. The first one is functions. Next. Okay, so function. Function is a communicative act. Function is some kind of communicative act. It is the use of language to achieve purposes. It is also involving interaction, at least between two people. So, as the example is suggesting, promoting, apologizing, greeting, and something like that. Okay, so the second one is objective. Objective is explain language in terms of people do with it. It is to explain the language in terms of what people do with it and how to use the language to live. Okay, so notion. Notion is a concept or an idea. Okay. It is also a specific vocabulary, in which case it is virtually the same as vocabulary. It is also contain general like vocabulary like time, size, emotion, movement. So functions categories. Function categories are divided into 5, which is personal, interpersonal, directive, referential, and imaginative. So the first one, personal, is about clarifying one's idea or expressing one thought or feeling, like love, joy, happiness, satisfaction. So the second one is interpersonal. Interpersonal is enabling us to establish and maintain our desirable social relationship, like introducing people to other people. The third one is directive. Directive is attempting to influence the action of others, like accepting or refusing direction. For example, making decisions, making requests, wanting someone. Okay. The fourth is referential, which is taking or reporting about things, events, or actions in the environment in future or past. For example, reporting facts about events or comparing things, defining something. Okay. The last one is imaginative. It is discussing. It is a discussion involving elements of creativity and artistic expression, like discussion about a poem, creating stories and plays, or solving problems or mysteries. Next is criticism. Criticism is functional approaches, including the difficulty in deciding the order in which different functions should be presented. The example is like, can I, as opposed to, would you mind if I? Something like that. The second one is no structure syllabus, which is random nature of language use, which may frustrate learners. Used to be more analytical and building block approach that a grammatical syllabus can offer. The last one is the advantages. So it is suitable for beginners, and it also focuses more on communication, and it is useful for communicatively expression. Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, my name is Ronaja Sofia. Okay, I'm gonna explain about three approaches, which is communicative, content-based, and situational. So the first one is communicative. Communicative is one of the approaches which is only emphasized on how to communicate rather than instead of focusing on grammatical errors. So it's you develop how to convey message instead of learning the structural English. Okay, and then okay, how teachers do communicative teaching is using an authentic text, English text, like newspapers. You teach students how to speak English, not focusing on grammar. Okay, that's it. real life, communicative is described as umbrella because it's broad. You're not focusing on anything. Okay, umbrella, broad. So in real life, people describe that communicative approach as umbrella. Okay, second one is content-based. Content-based is where the student, the teacher, you teach students what interesting to them, like you want to know about a pop star maybe, so you just study about that pop star, but in your targeted language, not in your native language. Okay, and it's this approach is being done because you want to develop your English in using your interest. So maybe if you're using this approach, you'll get more interested into learning language. Okay, how to do this is, teacher, you have to separate your class into smaller groups, and you give them a topic on each group, and you ask them to do research on them using find any resources they can, like website from audience or even from the teacher herself, and by the end of the discussion, you have to present it to the class about the topic interests you. So content-based is only thing that you are interested in. Get it? Okay. Okay, the last one is situational approach, which it's actually the situational approach is a method in which children to use whatever hearing they get. Oh, this one is similar to the one our friends present before about acquiring from your surrounding. You're learning English, just only acquiring it from your surrounding. It is to develop English in another way, in much more informal way. You're just acquiring it whenever you acquire it. Okay. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Okay, I will proceed the presentation with another 3 approaches, which is oral approach, multi-skill approach, and eclectic approach. Oh, sorry. My name is Ansuraya binti Muhammad Kamal. Okay, oral approach. These 2 words have the same pronunciation, like we always say, oral approach. Oral approach is about auditory learning. Okay, auditory learning is all about a learning style which a person learns through listening. Okay, oral is about listening. Okay, and auditory learners form connections through sound
like words and music. Okay, the example of the activity is the student should say the word they heard from the audio, and the teacher say a word, and the student repeat the word twice. This activity will help students to improve their repeating skills and remembering skills. Okay, next is multi-skill approach. Multi-skill means possess more than one skill, which is writing, reading, listening, and speaking. The fourth main skill in language lesson. Okay, first of all, writing. As teacher, we can ask the student to write 5 sentences, paragraph, or spell words correctly. Okay, second is reading. We can ask the student to identify main ideas in the article and then summarize what they have read based on the article they have read. Okay, next is speaking. We can ask the student, ask questions, and ask them to do 1-minute presentation. And last one is listening. Listening, we can ask them to listen for specific words in conversation and repeat what they heard from the audio. Okay, the last one is eclectic approach. Can you pronounce it correctly? Eclectic. Okay. Eclectic approach is a method of language education that combines various approaches and methods to teach language depending on the aims of the lesson and the abilities of the learners. Okay, this approach requires teachers to think a new way of teaching. Okay. Okay, this is the example of different methods that teacher can possess when teaching, which is grammar translation method, direct method, audiovisual method, communicative language, and bilingual method. Okay, this eclectic approach has an advantage, which is the teacher has more flexibility to teach in class, and there is variety in the classroom. So the teacher not focusing on one way of teaching only. They can use more method and approaches in order to make the student understand what they teaching. If you don't understand any of my presentation, you can directly WhatsApp me. Thank you.
Okay guys, are you sleepy? Yes. Very sleepy or still can go on? Still can go on? You are sleepy. Okay, do you want to play a game? Yes. Okay, we're gonna play charades. Yes. Okay, any one of you don't know what charade is? You don't know what charade is. Okay, basically I'm going to give you. Okay, listen. Okay, I'm going to give you an idiom, and then you're gonna have to act it out, and then make everyone guess what the idiom is about. Okay? Okay? Okay. Who wants to become a volunteer? Okay, Lupina. Please clap for her.